everybody on the team loves watching movies, and so sometimes I get these gems of movies that I never saw when I was younger that I get to go back and like, you know, watch some old stuff, and sometimes it's really goofy. Other times it's like legitimately good films, and we all get to laugh about these movies that each of us through our walks of life has have watched and been inspired by.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another regular show Wiki interview. Today's guest is a storyboard artist for the new series, Regular Show The Lost Tapes, where he so far has boarded the episodes Blade Games and Good Mitch Spiking. Everybody, please welcome Bryan Mann.
Hello, nice to meet y'all.
We'll start from the very beginning. What was it that initially got you interested in doing animation?
Well, I mean, I grew up watching cartoons when I was younger, and I feel like all of us did, right? But then, like even when I was in high school, I got pretty hooked on anime. There's this thing on is it Cartoon Network called Toonami, and they showed a bunch of anime. Like it was like right when I got home from school, and I feel like that just kind of like kept me hooked on the animation like pipeline, and so I just got like really interested in like drawing sequentially. I also would go to like I don't know if Borders exists anymore, but it was a bookstore, and get manga from there and like read a bunch of comic books. And I actually used to draw my own comics when I was in high school. They're really bad. I actually found them recently. They're really, really bad. But yeah, I've always really loved like drawing, just the act of drawing, like the feeling of like pen on paper is like so satisfying, and it's really fun. Um, and when I found out that you could just do animation as a career, I really just like zoned and focused and studied that in college. Like I studied animation illustration in college too. So yeah.
And so, how did that lead into you eventually getting into the animation industry?
Well, in college, uh, so I went to college at San Jose State University, and the professors there were like really, really focused on getting people work, but it was mostly in jobs that like their previous students had gotten before. So it was mainly like feature stuff. Like there's several San Jose State people who had been working at DreamWorks when I was going to school there. But when I went down to Los Angeles, it was because I got an internship at Nickelodeon. Um, which like a couple of other San Jose people had gotten internships there too. And then when I interned at Nickelodeon, it was like, oh, TV is a thing. Like my first job was on a show called Sanjay and Craig, which is kind of funny that I worked on that show because I feel like that was Nickelodeon's response to Regular Show in its first run. Um, but also like Sean Zellis like did the pilot for that show, and so I feel like Regular Show's like DNA was kind of also in there too. Like Regular Show was a very influential show back then, um, and is still now, I guess, since they're making more.
I do remember a few, maybe like 10 years ago, somebody tweeted out something about like, oh, Sanjay and Craig it's a rip-off of Regular Show. And then Sean Sellis had responded to it being like, you guys really don't know your stuff.
I don't think that I ever actually met him when I was working on Sanjay and Craig because he was busy continuing on Regular Show. But there was also like a ton of other Regular Show folks that did boards for that show. Like, that their jobs, like they get offered money to do the job that they did on Regular Show too. So it is not like, I mean, sure, Nickelodeon is trying to compete with the numbers, obviously, but like when it comes to animation people, like it is our job, and if they're gonna pay us money to do boards here, there, wherever, like it is, your career. Like you are doing it in order to be able to like live and like pay rent and like pay for food and stuff. So it's silly that people are like, Sanjay and Craig loses and Regular Show wins, because it's like, dude, like Regular Show people boarded on that show too. Like we, it's funny. It's a very funny. I feel like it's similar to like the console wars where it's like Xbox versus Sony, whatever. But like really, it's like everybody just is making games, man. Everybody's making cartoons.
And I'm just here, just hanging out with my Switch.
Nice. What are you playing on Switch? Switch 2 or the old Switch?
I've switched to the Switch 2 now. I've got like back into like Mario Galaxy. I'm doing like a marathon of like all the Mario games from beginning to now.
I did see that they just like re-released those for Switch. And so yeah, I've seen a lot of people like a lot of streamers are streaming that game. Hey, it's a fun game. It's a real fun game. I've been playing that new Donkey Kong game. That thing is fun. If you feel like you want to destroy something, that game's perfect.
I want to finish this Mario-a-thon and then get into like do Donkey Kong Country and then kind of lead those games into Bonanza.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good way to do it is to play it all the way through. I have a buddy that does that too, where it's like they can't play the new one unless they've already played through the first one or whatever.
So let's get on to your work on regular show on the Lost Tapes. I mean, first of all, before you came on to do the show, how aware were you of the original series?
I actually did a test for the original run of the series. I think maybe 3 seasons had come out, and I distinctly remember seeing, I think Positive, which is an episode by Kat Morris and Sean Sellis, that like I was like, whoa, I want to work on this show. And they were doing tests to try to find a new person. But I feel like a lot of times like they've already got an idea of somebody that they want to bring on when that happens. But it was really awesome. One of the designers on the show, his name's Ben Adams. He rock climbs, and I came from Northern California where like rock climbing is like an essential thing. So when I moved down here, I had to find the rock climbing gyms, and I ran into him at the gym, and he got a test for me, which was really really nice of him to do. And like it was a long shot. Like there was no way I was going to get a job on regular show, but yeah, I really liked the show. So it's pretty serendipitous that I got a chance to work on it. Actually, I had kind of like written it off as like, well, you know what, I can appreciate it and I can like love it for what it is, but I don't think I'll ever get to work on it. But hey, it was pretty insane because I had worked with Sean on a couple of other projects previously, and they called me into a meeting, and JG was there. He was like, "We're doing it," and I was like, "Whoa, what the heck?" I was like, "Whoa, whoa!" Pretty crazy.
Now that you've said that, you might be, I mean, surely you must be the holder of the record for the longest gap between taking a storyboard test and getting the job. Because I've spoken to a few people who, like Sam Spina, for example, we interviewed him last year and he mentioned he did a test and then like 2 years later he got the job. But I think you've got him beat by a long stretch now.
Yeah, I proudly hold that title for sure. I don't think anyone will ever beat me. I hope they don't. I hope that they get their job way earlier than I do.
Just everyone gets instant gratification with getting.
Yeah. Like the minute pen hits the paper, they're like, "You're hired." Whoa, great.
So working on the show, obviously, you've been boarding with Sam Lane. Sam is a guest we've had on, and we asked her what it was like working with you. So on the flip side, what was it like working with Sam?
Oh man, Sam's amazing. Uh, she's so freaking funny. I don't know if you've seen her Adult Swim Smalls thing, but like, good God, it is hilarious. She's like such a funny writer. And I feel like that's kind of like how our team dynamic is like her writing is like uh the best writing ever. And like I love to draw. And so we both kind of like push each other to get funnier and better together. It's really, really a cool dynamic.
And I know that she was boarding on post-its for quite a while. Were you ever boarding on post-its for this show, or
I didn't board on Post-its, mainly because I've I've only ever boarded on Post-its one time on Sanjay and Craig, and it went horribly. Um, and then after that, I had gotten a computer, and since that point, I've always worked on computer, and so I just wanted to make sure that I put my best foot forward, especially since like I was still learning how to do the show, Um, they had made 8 seasons already when I came on, so there's a little bit of a learning curve. And that it was really nice that they were patient enough to like help me get on the same page. But yeah, yeah. I never drew on post-it notes. I mean, I draw all over the place. Like I'm always drawing, so I've definitely drawn on post-it notes, but I never did an episode on post-it notes. Yeah.
So how was it having your boards for your episodes like half digital and half post-its?
Oh, it was totally fine. Mainly because the way in which this show functions is that you print your stuff out and you post it all like physically and you pitch with like a pointer physically. But the main reason that they do that is to get a sense of the pacing because like they've known since the last 8 season run, like how long an episode will be if it takes up a certain amount of these like pitching boards that they have. It's a really cool like tactic to figure out like if you're hitting the mark with the length of your episodes and stuff. It's super smart. Like they have a very like well worked out way of doing stuff. It's pretty cool. Like yeah, I've started to do like episode math where it's like I can count out the panels that I've drawn. I'm like, no, 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 that's gonna go too long. Okay, we got to delete some of this stuff.
So I mean, let's talk a bit about your first episode, Blade Games. I think if I'm remembering rightly, did you do the second half of this episode?
Yes, I did do the second half where Cal the Chop Man Smith shows up out of the sky. It's a reference to Big Trouble in Little China, which is like one of JG's favorite films. Yeah, he loves to make references to old movies all the time. So he was like, "Yeah, this scene right here where the dudes just soar down from the sky." Uh, and then like while we were working through the different pitches or whatever, he came up with the idea of the van also dropping out of the sky, which was really funny.
Obviously, this episode had been like used to promote the series quite a bit. Like they were using a lot of scenes from the montage. I would have guessed from them that it was a Benson episode.
Yeah, yeah, because he's watching them do horribly. Yeah, I mean, also like JG is very adamant about not giving away too much stuff, so he'll pepper scenes from different episodes in a way to confuse you. So that way you're not getting spoiled. Like it just isn't as fun if you know what you're gonna see, you know? So yeah, he's really good at that stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen those Blade games competition, or I think that's called Blade Sports. But they are a sight to behold. I recommend you go and watch it. It's pretty long-winded, like you watch every single competitor go through, but like even just one round or two, just watching like the adrenaline of this person with their arm behind their back, like trying to chop through a piece of rope. It's like there's something so like goofy, but it's like they're so like genuine. They take it so seriously. And there are like companies that make those like competition grade knives and stuff. So it's like a feedback loop where they like fund themselves with their goofy little like courses and stuff. Yeah, and everybody's wearing like, Reeboks and New Balances, and that's why like when they drop down from the sky and the first thing you see is their feet, I try to make sure to like match the shoes that they all wear. These like awkward like trail runners. uh, and then also like the Cal the Chop Man Smith guy is based off of the Cold Steel guy. Have you ever seen Cold Steel before? It's like a novelty like sword sales website or whatever, and they have YouTube channels where they show you how well the sword cuts through a slab of meat that's hanging off of a hook or whatever, and it's like So, I mean, the guy is so sincere about it. Like when you look in his eyes, he thinks he's being really cool, you know? And I think the sincerity just makes it so charming and funny that it makes for such a good character, you know?
I don't know if you might have seen for the show's release on HBO Max, we posted a photo of Rigby on chopsticks in sushi, referencing Stiltwalkers.
Referencing Stiltwalkers. I didn't realize. I thought that that was an official post from the company, and then when I saw, I was like, "Oh no, that's you. You posted that. That was awesome, man. That's a nice reference."
I mentioned it too because I interviewed Maddie Brewer and I mentioned like, oh, that was something that I wanted to post, and then she was like, well, why don't you post that for like when it comes on HBO Max? And I was like, I'm gonna go do that. But originally, I had planned to do like a little real life thing for each episode. Then I ended up deciding, no, less is more. I'm just going to do the sushi thing. But there was a lot of debate in my mind of being like, do I post a picture of like a Mordecai and Rigby plush holding like these weapons grade knives? Like, I don't think that would have been appropriate. If any like young kids come along and just
I don't
see,
know. I mean, I feel like if you've seen regular show, they literally like use guns in the original season. You know, like that. I don't think it's that bad, but I think it's nice that you think about that stuff. You know, S&P for sure thinks about that stuff here. But you don't have an S&P. You can post whatever you want, man. And I think that's funny. I think
it's
that's
funny
fun.
you mentioned that because here I'm based in the UK. With the original series, we had a long history of episodes being changed or censored so they can fit with our TV standards. Blade Games is the only episode so far of the Lost Tapes where that's happened. When they're all chopping up Benson's car, a few shots have been removed.
Interesting. Wow, that's really interesting to find out. Huh. All right. I mean, yeah. I mean, using a knife is very imitatable, I guess. A knife with a big piece of bamboo lodged into it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, let's talk a bit about the other episodes that has come out so far. Good Mitch Spiking. I don't actually remember which scene Sam said that she boarded.
Oh yeah, Sam did the ending of that one, and I did the beginning half.
So you're responsible for the breakup scene then.
Yes, I am responsible for the breakup scene across the aisle of the mall.
I don't want to say I jumped up. Like I want to say that I jumped up, but I didn't. When I was seeing like the connections to the original series with this one, like I never in a million years would have thought we would get a backstory on Starless tattoos.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting to see them like making connections to the previous run. I mean, and also like that's kind of what this is meant to be. It's like these are things that occurred in between the cracks, you know? Uh, so yeah, it's exciting to get in there and like play around in that sandbox, you know, keeping track of characters and making references to things. It's very fun.
They need to bring back regular show DVDs and like the compilation DVDs they used to release, and then you just need to do a whole collection of like all the sports related episodes, um, because there is a lot of them. Like I don't think it's something you typically think about, but and this is definitely one of them.
Sports related and like food challenges and like yeah,
Warner Bros. Could be making absolute fortune if they took on that idea.
that's true. Yeah, we got to get that in front of an executive.
Yeah, just a lot of great stuff in this episode. One thing, my favorite joke is quite a genius joke, I think. That at the beginning, it's Dan Diggs saying, I'm 26 years old with my whole life behind me. And then at the end, you find out, oh no, he literally does have his life all behind him because he's dead.
I'm pretty sure that was a Sean thing. Like he was really adamant about making that the punchline of the joke at the end of the episode that he's been a ghost this whole time.
I don't know if I'm mistaken in thinking that the title is a riff on Goodwill Hunting.
It absolutely is, yeah. It's definitely a joke about that. Finding your purpose, and it ends up being a porpoise instead.
I was saying in our podcast that like, oh, maybe we'll see some scenes of Muscle Man at therapy.
Volleyball is therapy, man. Actually, there is a movie that we made a few like. Uh, I mean, we tried to make direct references, but there was a lot of stuff. I don't know if you noticed, but I posted some like deleted scene stuff because it was getting a little bit bloated with the amount of episode that was coming out after we like followed the outline that they gave us. But the movie that they told us to watch is a movie called Side Out, and it is a weird one. It is such a weird movie where it's this dude who is like working at a law firm decides to just like take a whole left turn and become a volleyball superstar or whatever. But the Dan Diggs guy is based off of the like mentor dude in that movie. He looks really, really similar to him. Um, but yeah, I mean, like that's the other great thing about working on regular show is that like everybody on the team loves watching movies, and so sometimes I get these gems of movies that I never saw when I was younger that I get to go back and like, you know, watch some old stuff, and sometimes it's really goofy. Other times it's like legitimately good films, and we all get to laugh about these movies that each of us through our walks of life has have watched and been inspired by.
Basically, the bottom line is somebody needs to create like an official regular show letterbox list.
Oh man, I bet Toby would totally do that.
On to what you were saying about like deleted scenes and stuff. I do want to ask about like any cut jokes or scenes that you really liked and wish could have stayed in.
Um, well, actually, I think that like this is part of the process. It's like when we pitch, we work through stuff and like get all on the same page. And so the final episode is the amalgamation of the best ideas. Like that is the most well realized version that we all worked on together. But like when I was working on Blade games, I had just been playing a bunch of like From Software games. Like I was playing Dark Souls 3 at the time. And there's that I don't know if you've played Dark Souls 3, but there's a moment in that where there's like pikes going all through the ground and you're like what the heck is all these pikes in the ground for, and suddenly they start raining out of the sky and hitting you, and like my mind went for the ending of Blade games, my mind went there. And so initially I didn't have them falling from the sky, I had several massive knives fall from the sky, and then like a door opens up and they come out of the knives. Maybe I'll post, I don't know, maybe I'll make a post about it, we'll see. But uh I think it was way, way funnier to focus more on the characters and how goofy they are, and them actually sincerely doing the Blade games like style competition with their like arm behind their back, and they're just slowly chopping their way through like Benson's car, and like because it is a really like I really recommend that everybody that listen to this go and watch a Blade Sports video. It is like it's incredible. Like these people all love to chop stuff. They turned it into a sport. It's really quite interesting.
I mean, kind of in a similar vein to that episodes. If there's anything that you don't enjoy doing, then you can turn that into Blade games or something. I don't know where I was going with that, but
Yeah, that's right. It's like you take things you don't like, you chop it up and you toss it. It's part of your sport now. That photo of your ex, chop. That tomato, you hate tomatoes, chop. There is actually like a thing that they do where they like there's like a stopper that you have to take out, and you have to time it just right as a tennis ball like rolls out. And there's a lot of times where they miss it and they're like, ah, and they make this like exasperated noise when they miss it. And they're like, it's okay, Joe. It's okay. Keep going.
now usually what I would ask is what are some of your favorite episodes that you've done, but unfortunately at this moment in time we can only talk about two episodes. So, what are some of your other favorite episodes that you haven't worked on, either from the Lost Tapes or from the original series, or both?
I mean, definitely think positive. That episode is like so. I just really love how the perspective shift of that episode, where you suddenly start feeling for Benson because you see things from his you see things from his POV, where it's like you're seeing how incompetent Mordecai and Rigby are truly. Like there's that scene where they're like painting the shed, right? They're putting the paint on themselves and he like breaks through the thing and and I would be pissed. I would be like if it's like hey man, we finally figured out a way to paint the shed. Uh, but then the build to that ending and also like the reference to his past where his father like bestows his anger issue on him. It's just such a well-rounded episode. It's a very, very good episode. Um, Definitely deserves a rewatch. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, there's so many good ones. I actually just recently went back and watched. Shoot, I don't remember the name of it, but like they accidentally set off all the fireworks and they have to go to Mexico and like talk to Muscle Man's. I guess he's his uncle, but he's like a cartel dude, and like they like set him up to die. Like it's like very, very brutal. But then like they bring back the one firework and it shoots the guy back to Mex. It's like so ridiculous. But it's such a cool episode. And then I also watched Death Sandwich recently, which that one is really cool. The scene where like all the dudes on motorbikes come in is like so funny. It's a really funny moment. And then he fights the dude for the sandwich at the end, and he's got like a super long mullet tail. Man, real good reveal. Yeah, I mean, the show's got a lot of bangers. It's a good show.
Jolly good show.
But I can also talk about previous stuff that I've done. I recently had been working on this video game project that I don't know if you like playing Smash Brothers. Do you like to play Smash Brothers?
In like a social setting, yeah.
Well, these dudes worked on this. They worked on this really well-known mod called Project M. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but they all got together and made this game that is like specifically theirs now, so they can't get like sued by Nintendo. It's called Combo Devils, and it's been doing really well. I mean, it's not even out yet, but they've been getting invited to Evo and stuff, which is really exciting. And so I did a bunch of board stuff for them. I boarded a lot of their character intros and like the ultra moves for their characters and stuff like that. That was really fun. It's a very indulgent, like most storyboarding stuff that I do, you're like tracking characters' emotions and stuff. But with this one, it's like, just make it as cool as possible. He does a flip and then traps them and like, yeah. Which I will say, also very regular show stuff. Like the things that I have been able to do on this show have been very indulgent. Chopping up a whole car with knives is like an incredibly fun thing to storyboard. Um, but yeah, and then I worked on a SpongeBob movie. I worked on Angry Birds 2. I've touched a lot of stuff that I grew up with in the past, which is pretty crazy. That it comes back around and I get to work on it.
Well, kind of on the flip side of favorite episodes, who would you say are some of your favorite characters to board for?
I'm kind of a sucker for drawing uh, musculature, so Skips is definitely a favorite of mine. I just, you know what? It's really fun to draw a muscular dude. Uh, I also do, though, I really like drawing Benson. There's not much there. It's just a gumball machine with a couple sticks coming off, but like for some reason I really enjoy drawing that dude. Uh Muscle Man is also fun. I it's just he's pretty easy to draw actually. I think that's what it is that he's so easy. But you know what? Like over my time that I've spent working on the show, like Mordecai and Rigby are like they're very distinctive. It's tricky to get it right. like when I first started, I was like, oh yeah, I can draw these dudes. But then there are some like specific aspects about their designs that it's like you got to get them right in order for it to feel right. But yeah, I mean, I just love drawing in general. So like, I'll draw whoever. Put a character in front of me, I'll draw them.
And I hope I'm not somehow spoiling an upcoming episode here, but maybe we need the return of the of that Def Kwando master with the super long hair.
Even if it was a spoiler, I wouldn't tell you. You'll have to find out for yourself.
There's a chance now I'll just hold this back until the fateful day where he does return, and it'll be like a scream being like, "He did in fact return."
Hey, wasn't there one other person that worked on that show? Oh man, what? And then the episode comes out, and finally, the Bryan episode releases.
It's the lost tapes of the interviews.
Wow, deep. It just keeps going deeper.
What would you say are some of your favorite memories of working on the show?
Okay, so before I started working on the show, I got super into making cold brew. Um, and so I've been making cold brew every single night before I came into work, and I would offer it to everybody, because it's nice. It's nice to share stuff with people. And also, like before this, I was working in the pandemic, so it was all from home, and I was just feeling like really clammed up and like isolated. So I was just like so excited to like be able to work with people again and like actually see other people and like exchange ideas and stuff like that that I was like bringing this cold brew to share with folks. And I distinctly remember that I I gave some to Toby, and Toby was like, wow, tastes really good. And then I saw him today and was like, hey, what did you think of the cold brew? And he looked at me like with this 1,000 yard stare, and he was like, Ryan, it was so strong I could see through matter. And so I realized that my cold brew was like incredibly strong, and so until I started sharing with people, because I drink it every single day. Like uh, coffee is basically just part of my circulatory system. Uh, but then also, like going and having lunch with folks and hearing what everybody was up to, it was a really huge thing for me because up until that point, it was all from home. So I was all the times that I was working on stuff, it was always looking at my boss in this little box, just like we're doing right now. And it just there's there's no replacement for like experiencing people like hanging out with a community. So regular show kind of like re-kickstarted that, being able to like hang out with folks. It was a really nice thing.
Again, I mean, I think I bring this up every single time. I don't think there's been a single time that I've spoken specifically to a board artist that they haven't mentioned going to lunch.
Yeah. We got to eat, huh? It would be convenient if we didn't have to. I get so much more stuff done. Like if I didn't have to sleep or eat, if I could just like do without it for like maybe a week, I'd get tons and tons of stuff done. But that that need to to eat something. I'm just kidding. I do like eating. I like uh
Well, obviously, you have also worked for, as you mentioned, on Apple and Onion. What would you say the main differences are between boarding for that show and boarding for regular show?
okay. I mean, Apple and Onion was script driven. So they would give us a script with all of the dialogue in it. And we were supposed to follow that like verbatim. And they would tell you if they wanted a change made, they would tell you what the change was. And then even further on in that show, George started making these things called radio plays where he recorded things and like tried to pace the jokes out for people so that they would understand the way that he was trying to joke, because he had a very specific joking style. Um, Whereas with this show, they give you an outline, and sometimes they'll like flesh out a thing that they want to have in the episode that they think is really funny. But a lot of times, like we're writing the dialogue for the characters. and coming up with the shots at the same time. Uh, so yeah, so that is like a huge difference. And there's tons of other shows that are this show is called a premise driven show, and then the other show is a script driven show. Sanjay and Craig was a premise driven show, um, and another show that I worked on called Home Adventures of Tip and O. That's a premise that was a premise driven show too. Um, but yeah, both are fun. You can have just as much fun on a script driven show as you can on a premise show. Like there's just different ways to play when you're putting an episode together. You know.
Every board artist brings a little bit of their own personality into the show. What would you say that the thing that you bring to the show would be?
The amount of research that that I get to do when I get a premise for an episode because there's like something incredibly specific in it. I love going down those rabbit holes. Uh, like watching the specificity of how people act during those blade sports videos, and trying to really inject that stuff into the episode so that it feels right. So that if somebody who actually did that would look at it and be like, "Oh, they're doing the tech. Oh, they're doing the tech in there." Um, I mean, there was also one thing in Blade games that didn't actually make it through to design, and I think it's because like S&P wouldn't let us do it. Uh, is there's that muscular guy that's covered in tattoos. Um, I actually all of those tattoos when I drew them in the board were logos from specific blade sports companies that make knives for that sport, uh, which I thought would be like, this dude is such a fanboy of like Blade Sports, covered himself in the logos of the companies. uh, but yeah, I mean, I think it's that. I think it's like getting into the specificity of the thing that the episode is about is like something that I like to bring when I board for this show.
That's great. I'm curious to know who or what would you say are some of your biggest inspirations for doing the type of work that you do?
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Satoshi Kon. Like the way in which he does character expression and just filmmaking in general is like so incredibly beautiful. I don't know if you've ever seen like Tokyo Godfathers. It's an incredible film, but also most of his films are just like, yeah, they're really, really good. I would love to be half as skilled as that guy, you know? Rest in peace, you know? There's a lot. I'm inspired by a lot. I'm like constantly following artists on social media all the time, and there are some animators that post their like they're just pencil tests. They're just like drilling and like trying stuff out that is like I think that there's a saying that comparison is the thief of joy, but like it's hard not to compare yourself when you see something like truly beautiful, you know? But I think that that's kind of how it is that like I'm always practicing and trying to get better and looking at other artists and seeing them excel and get better too, and it like fills you with energy. There's this artist that I recently started following on Instagram called their name is Connor Kelly, and they make these CG things that are like so incredibly charming, but like there's a simplicity to them that like man, that they're it's very good. I recommend checking their stuff out. Connor Kelly. Vincent Chasnard is an animator. He works on One Piece right now. And his animations are insane. Like he is doing some incredible stuff. There's a lot of people on the like current run of One Piece right now that are doing some really incredible stuff. But Vincent Chasnard is a French dude, and like he's so good. He's so good at animating. Um, and yeah. Another one. There's this artist. His name's Rodrigo Souza, and he does horror stuff. And it is like so compelling and like horrifying, which like I think it's quite hard to make drawing like animated stuff scary. but Rodrigo Souza does it, like really does it. He has some Adult Swim Smalls shorts that are called Uncanny Alley that are like incredible. They're so, so good. And that dude's stuff like really inspires me. And also Joseph Bennett. Joseph Bennett's stuff is so good. He's one of the creators of Common Side Effects. And that dude's stuff is great. He's an incredible artist. I could rattle off like a whole list, but I think I'll leave it there.
If there is anybody out there who wants to get into the industry, what sort of advice would you want to give to them?
I think that like you make stuff in the direction you want to go, and I think that people recognize that you're good for that. There's a lot of people in this industry that like keep track of artists and are aware of what's going on and stuff. And I think that there's some people out there that are like really good at like promoting themselves. Um, and I think that if you are good at promoting yourself, that's really good. But I'm definitely not. Personally, I'm not super good at promoting myself, but I constantly put out work. Like I work and I work and I work and I try to put things out that look the way that I would like things to look, you know? And I think people notice that stuff and they are like, wow, we need that here, you know? Um, but I think that it's different for everybody. Everybody has a different way of getting in the industry. Sometimes it's being in the right place at the right time. Other times it's like you are you've got the juice, you know. Sometimes people just know that the animation industry needs this specific thing sometimes, you know. And I think that if you can just maintain the energy to continue to create things, someone will find you and place you in the perfect spot, you know. It's silly to say, because it's not like concrete. But there are like lots of ways to get into animation too. Like YouTube is a huge thing, and there's a lot of like indie animation people on YouTube that are like building their kingdom, you know? Like that Casa Cartoons guy, the dude that does the like recap stuff. Um, he's been making that stuff, and that stuff has a good finish to it. I know that it's all like really, really funny, and like the drawings are quite simple, but like it's finished. That stuff is very finished, and it's hard to bring things to a finish by yourself, um, and for free at first. Like, because YouTube's you don't get paid right away. You have to build it, right? So yeah, there's lots of different ways to build your name as an animator and stuff like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you're a schmoozer or that you go to networking events and stuff like that, but that is also another option. You go to networking events, you talk to people, you get to know who's there and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's lots of ways. You just have to find what's right for you.
That's great. Unfortunately, we are starting to head towards the end of the interview now. But before I let you go, I'd just like to ask if there's anything coming up or that's come out recently that you'd like to promote.
Um, I mean, yeah, Combo Devils. Combo Devils is the game that I worked on. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's any other big stuff. Keep watching the show. Uh, I hope that everybody enjoys the next batch that comes out. But yeah, go watch it on HBO Max. How about that? Eat it with sushi. Take a picture.
Well, Bryan, thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to chat with you. It's nice to finally meet the face behind the regular show wiki.
Thank you once again to Bryan Mann for joining us for this interview. Now, we did forget to ask Bryan for his social media, so if you would like to follow Bryan and see more of his work, then make sure you follow him across social media at Bryan G. Mann. All of his links will be in the description. Next time, we'll be speaking to Cheryl Johnson, the assistant art director for the brand new series, Regular Show The Lost Tapes. Here's a preview.
I felt like I was in a unique position on the show. I was it did like such a tiny thing on the original series. So I got to enter into this world like with like totally fresh eyes. So like when I'm hunting stuff down for the artists, like every other day I'd be like, you guys did that? And you did that? And wait, you have a horse character that loves to party all the time? And you have like Gary? I learned all about Gary. Like it was just so much stuff that I was uncovering and learning for the first time, and it was like really, really fun.